right, hello and welcome. How's everyone doing on what I hope is a fantastic Tuesday? August the 31st, the last day of August. I hope that it has gone well for you. With me tonight, as always, for these SeaQuest reviews is John DiMarco. How you doing, John? Uh-oh. Can you hear me, John?
Yes, I can hear you, but you froze up for a second.
Oh, okay. Well, we're good now. I was saying, if you missed that, everyone, I was saying hello, and with me is John. How are you doing tonight, John?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm here, ready with my computer issues. It seems, just like old times. And over in the chat,
the old days when we,
yeah, the old days of 2 weeks ago.
yeah.
You say that, John, but honestly, I had such a brain fart getting everything set up tonight. I'm like, wait, where am I supposed to have everything landing? I just completely couldn't think of it for a minute, but double Matthew voice, Josh is saying. Really? Let's test
Sounds
this
fine
real
in
quick.
StreamYards. I don't know about YouTube.
Sounds fine in
StreamYards. I don't know about YouTube.
Okay, hello. Okay, hello. No, but I only hear one Matthew voice. Maybe it was going weird for a second there, Josh, but I think it got worked out since then. But yeah, so John, with your hint for this week, we got Dolphin, Dagger. Oh, Dagger. Okay, I got that part now. Paintbrush.
Yes, paintbrush indeed.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about like I watched the episode, so I know what happens, but I'm not 100% sure on what the paintbrush is supposed to be.
I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah. And I will be slightly on top of things and drop a link to the screening room. We'll go ahead and pin that for just a minute from now. Josh wants to know, whatever happened to the evil Matthew Taserface Shortshanks? That is a great question, Josh. He just kind of...
I'd like to know that as well.
Oofed. You need to ask Michael about that. Try and get the adventures of Matthew Taserface Shortshanks back. Yeah, I said that right.
Indeed, for once.
Thomas Potts is here saying, well, I'm done commenting when more than one person on a stream. I hope you still do, Thomas. I've said this a lot. I'll say it again. I am really bad at reading chats. However, I do my best, or reading chats out loud, but I do my best to actually read the conversation as it goes by. Unless like I'm playing a game is actually harder. Like when we're just sitting here chatting, I can more or less keep an eye on the conversation. And we got a really great conversation going on last night between Jeff and Cirrus Tests. And so absolutely, even if I can't read every chat that comes down the line, I hope that you guys have fun chatting, because I remember when I first started hanging out in this community, I never watched a live stream. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't want to be involved with this. And then I started to try and watch some of Michael's old stuff, the Salty Trekkers. And I'm like, what the heck is up with Spinning Spock? Why is everyone begging for number 13? I don't know what number 13 is. And then I started, like, eventually I got my own favorite, which unfortunately Michael did lose. It was the Waffle House one. Like, what would happen if Michael didn't have YouTube? And he was like ranting at a random customer at Waffle House. But one of the things that I really did enjoy is that while the main conversation was going on, because back in those days we didn't do these panels, but Michael would be having the main conversation. But one of the things I really enjoyed is just chatting with everyone in the chat. Like, and that's something that I'd hate to see go away. I'd hate to see it just talking back and forth with me. I like it that people are here and they do chat with me. But one of the things I love is the fact that Jeff was having a complete side conversation, and it was a wonderful conversation. So I hope that you don't stop commenting, Thomas, because I will do my best to read the chats as they come in that are directed to me. And I love seeing the chats that aren't directed to me. They're just, this community hanging out and having fun. And honestly, that's where the best conversations happen. It's hard to have a conversation where someone makes a single comment over there, and then I spend 5 to 10 minutes because they triggered me. Which 100% happened this morning, not on a live stream, but someone made a comment over on Discord, and I got completely triggered and went off on a rant. But like, if that were to happen on a live stream, I'd go on for 5 or 10 minutes, and there'd be all this stuff going on in the chat, and I'd be trying to catch up, and I'd miss someone's comment. And the point is, don't stop commenting, Thomas. We love your comments, and I apologize.
Yes.
That I can't catch everything, but I mean, I don't mind getting the appropriate amount of flack, but I do ask, just, you know, if anyone is seriously upset at me, which Thomas, I don't think you are. I think you give me the appropriate amount of flack here, but if anyone is upset at me, just give me a little slack. I am imperfect, and I try my best. Like that one comment. How long have I been talking now? Probably 5 minutes. Forever behind in the chat.
At least.
It's an epidemic, man. Not a
Probably
pandemic.
don't even know that your wife's here.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten that far down the chat. Oh gosh. The Multi-Gun Man, how are you doing? It's going very well, thank you. In fact, it's going extremely well. I'm gonna try and be crazy here. Hold on a second, everyone.
Oh no.
Over on the side here. Oh, you can do it. Yeah. I got a little workstation set up over there that I hope to be using very soon. I need to get my soldering iron up here, but I do have a slew of products to go over, like what my thoughts are on things, and also I got a bunch of mods that I'm going to be working on for all my retro systems, and so I needed a spot where I could easily record it all, and I got that set up today, so I am extremely excited about that, and hopefully I can get those out in a timely manner and be able to do more content. Can you imagine that? Me actually being consistent with content releases?
And yes, Thomas, it did sound like he said give him a slap.
Yeah. You know what? Anyone who comes all the way to where I live or to my area just to meet up with me, I hereby grant you dispensation to slap my face. There you go. If you're going to make the trip.
Are you listening, Jeff?
Yes, if you're going to make the trip to where I live just to hang out, or just to, you know, pass on through, you want to say hi, like, honestly, guys, if you ever pass through the DFW, let me know. Send me a message on Twitter, on Discord, on whatever other platform I'm on, Subscribestar, Patreon, Twitter. Did I already say Twitter? The big ones. Send me a message, and I'll absolutely meet up with y'all for a dinner as you pass through the DFW area. I think that'd be great. And I will let you slap my face.
You've got to volunteer already.
Is it my wife?
Yes,
it is my wife. I was being facetious. Oh gosh.
Get him.
Josh Street is claiming I'm late. I say claiming, but yeah, actually I was about 30 seconds late. So, and a week and 30 seconds late.
Yes.
Time to send him back the bird's explosion machine. Ew, no. Josh Street is saying, John, tell the truth. Matthew has you trapped in the bird's basement.
No comment.
Amy is here saying, I don't hear double, but now she does. Was that when I was testing it? I may have had some audio bleeding through. Which, yes, that actually makes sense. That's exactly what would have happened. Aravic Sonder, how are you doing? And this is one of the other things I do try to skip through, because once I do start getting behind, if I just grab like everyone who's talking hello back and forth, then we'll be here forever. But and then I miss someone who's not saying hello back and forth, so sorry. Multi-Gunman wants to know, would I ever consider doing a series like Farscape? It's a 1990s sci-fi show. I know what Farscape is. Farscape is one of my favorite sci-fi shows. Ben Browder and Claudia Black were absolutely some of my favorite characters. In fact, it's one of I started with my wife it. If you go back through my channel videos, you can see I did a wife versus sci-fi series, which I've been getting some stuff set up, so hopefully soon we can reprise that. But in the series,
nice. I like those.
I would introduce Amy to the pilot episode of a sci-fi series and get her thoughts on it. And Farscape, she wasn't a fan of Dargo with the face tentacles, face, not tentacles, genitals, genitals. But she did like the Crichton and Aaron Soon romance plotline, so that was in the first episode, but I spoiled some of what was to come. So I absolutely love Farscape. I had a spider on my monitor, and I had a squirrel. It ran right by, got distracted. Oh gosh, Josh is claiming it's been an hour since I started my rant. Maybe.
We're getting there.
You are. And yes, Mulligan Man, what is the DFW area? It's the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Thank you for answering that, Amy. When you do it, make sure you stream the slap. Thank you. I have another video of my son slapping me. We did a little skit for a mod we did to the Nintendo, and man, he cracked up. I had to do so many takes because he could not stop laughing at the fact that he got to slap his dad. And he tries to do it again. He's like, Dad, we need to do another skit where I come up and slap you. I'm like, interesting how you, interesting how you always get this idea whenever you've been in trouble for the day. And, you know, maybe we've had a rough day. Somehow that always just springs to your mind after one of those rough days. Crazy, man. Crazy.
I agree with Thomas. I'm not sure your wife is old enough to watch TOS because of all that swearing it has in it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were space sailors, and they spoke like it, I tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
And Bradley is saying that he could walk to my house in less than a day. That is...
Oh, there you go.
That would be interesting. May have set myself up for a lot of sore faces in the near future. Arvik Saunders saying the screening room has a repeating loop of a Krogan helicopter crashing. It should have nothing, Arvik. So the way the screening room works, and we'll talk about that now, I have pinned up in this general vicinity, wherever the chat is, over there. Over in the chat, I've pinned a link to the screening room. So if you're here with us right now, you can go to that screening room and it will sync up all of our watch times together. Now, if you try to push the play button right now, you are going to get a loop because I'm the one in control of when it actually starts playing. So until I hit the play button, it's just going to keep looping on you. So you might as well hit the pause button and just wait for me to hit the play button for it to pick up. So once I do hit the play button, this is going to sync up all of our watch times together such that we don't all have to go to peacocktv.com and, you know, do a countdown and hit play and hope that we're more or less the same spot. And that way also, if for any reason I have to hit the pause button and take care of something that comes up, an emergency or something, that means we don't all have to try and guesswork, get back and forth, where are we, I don't know, sort of stuff. If you are in the future and you won't be able to watch this. This only works while we're doing the stream. You know, one of the reasons I think that these streams work is because we work on the honor system, and at least NBC honors the honor system. CBS is dog crap, but NBC, they play nice with us on fair use. They have this up for free on their peacocktv.com. You can sign up for an account and be able to watch it that way. And so they let us do this. But playing fair, this is only available while we have our watch party. Once the watch party is over, it's immediately unavailable. You can't watch it. You have to go over to Peacock TV or buy your own copy off Amazon. They're like $30 for the complete, or $30 for a season maybe, and I think I saw $50 for the complete series, all 3 seasons. So very reasonably priced. If you're here and you can't come to the screening room for some reason, or if you're somewhere in the future and you just don't want to come to the screening room, then we got you covered there. I am going to grab a clip every 3 seconds, it turns out. I thought it was once every 5 seconds. It turns out I didn't know my own program. my program that I specifically wrote, and tomorrow morning we'll have a video releasing on how to actually use it. But yeah, I didn't know my own script, and apparently I thought it was every 5 seconds. No, it's once every 3 seconds, which I probably should change to be once every 5 seconds. I think that might be a little more. I think that'd be a little more fair use than once every 3 seconds. So I do need to change that. But the point is, we got stills, so that way, as John and I talk about this, you have something to watch and a reference point, so that it's not just us saying, "Oh wow, Piccolo did something hilarious," because guys, Piccolo's got to do something hilarious. Yes. I guarantee it.
Oh, look, it's Darwin! Yay! And,
yeah. So this way, you'll actually be able to see. You'll actually be able to see what is going on. So we are going to get started here, and right about now-ish. I'll give a 5 count. If I can stop being just so, I don't know. I'm really easily distractible tonight, guys. So we'll see what actually happens for this. And as always, as we are going over this, John, please just have me shut up whenever you have something to say. Otherwise, I definitely, the more I stream, the easier it is just for me to have an endless stream of thoughts. So you value your words like gold. You be sure we all get to hear them. And I'll shut up.
Got it.
Let's see, Josh is saying, if you make the walk, give Matthew a double slap for Bradley.
Slap. Very, very nice.
That would be. I don't think I'd promise a double slap, but I do think it'd be cool to be able to meet more people from the community. In fact, what day is it? I'm going to be distracted one last time as people hopefully stream your way over to the screening room. But I do want to check. I have in October, I do believe there is a Retropalooza, and I am signed up to go there. Yeah, Retropalooza. It is on October the 24th. So anyone who's going to be in the DFW area and likes retro gaming, come to Retropalooza. It is at the Arlington Convention Center, October 24th and 25th, that weekend. It's a Saturday and Sunday, maybe Friday too, I forget. But you can look up Retropalooza. I'll be there. If you're there, look for me. I'm only going to be there on Saturday, and I probably won't be there too long unless I know other people would be there, so I could say hi to them. But it'd be cool to hang out and get to see you guys at events like this. And I think you do have to get a ticket, but if you get it now, it's only like $25. So it's worth it if you like, retro stuff. There's going to be lots of people there. There's going to be, games worth buying, random knickknack stuff. It's a pretty cool thing. I look forward to going. It's going to be my first one this year, although I know that Gary, Rock Solid Productions, and another guy, John Riggs, who also does retro stuff. They're both, Gary won't be at this one. He has a wedding anniversary, but they do a lot of things like this. John Riggs will be there, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope to see maybe some more people there if you're up for it. With that said, guys, I do think we have stalled long enough. Anyone who wants to be in the screening room, which I have linked over in YouTube, if you're over on Twitter and you're just now showing up, I think you know the drill. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't let you see past conversations, which Twitter, please get on top of this. Keep a log of the messages so that anyone coming in the middle of the stream gets to see past stuff. And give us the ability to pin a comment. Super important. Please, please, please.
I'd be very impressed if anybody was here from Twitter, since I didn't know you could stream the Twitter.
I did say that, didn't I?
Yep, a couple times.
Twitch. If anyone from Twitch is here. So if anyone from Twitch is here, love your platform, even if I get the name wrong. Stick around. I will get all the names wrong. But please give us the ability to pin a comment and let us see past logs, because it is frustrating. First world problems. It's frustrating when you come into a Twitch show and you find out like there's this conversation going on. You don't know the context for it, but it seems like it would have been interesting, and you can't see it because Twitch only keeps the moment you enter the room. That's when they show stuff. So anyway, Anyway, yes, everyone, Twitter. I meant Twitch. Everyone, grumble, mumble, grumble. We're going to get started here, guys. I think I've dug my holes deep enough.
You'll save some digging for the actual episode.
Exactly. Oh, I got one last thing. Boy. My prediction last week, 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I predicted that Dagger Redo, based on the name alone, was going to be a Dagwood-centric episode. That either this was going to be something about Dagwood, or this was going to be maybe they are trying to do 2.0 of the daggers. So we have Dagwood. He's the beta alpha release. Then we have the current daggers that we saw in episodes 1 and 2 of season 2, the Gelfs, and they were 1.0. And so I thought maybe we're going to get version 2.0 of the daggers. So that was my guess, everyone. We are at Thomas. The hole I've been digging is almost to China now. Just about.
Yep.
Just about. So that's my prediction. I'm going to count to 5. I'm going to hit the play button, and then we're going to find out how right I was, or wrong, in this episode. So get ready if you're in the future, everyone. BigHawkTV.com. Sign up for a free account. You get to watch this. You get to watch a lot of other NBC shows. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit that play button. We're getting this going. And as Ervik Sonder said, it starts off with a helicopter apparently in distress. You see some guy who needs chest compressions, and they're coming up on some super secure UEO facility. And they're saying, no, you do not get to land here. You are going to just keep on going. Which, I mean, it makes sense if you actually had a secured facility. Like, say you came up to Fort Knox or the White House. Do you really think they would let you just land on their airfield because you had an injured person? Or something less extreme. What about, like, here in Texas we have Fort Hood, a military base. Do you really think Fort Hood would just let you land without any sort of authorization? I think not. And they're saying they're going to shoot him down, but they decide not to. They just bring out all the guns. And the guy says, well, what do you want me to do? Just let him die? He goes, well, you better see who I have. He goes, it better be someone important. And it is. It's Commander Ford. Something is drastically wrong with them. And he's so amazingly well known.
Yes.
That this guy's like, oh crap, yeah, we got to get him. We got to get him treated right away. And you briefly see, I forget her name, unsurprisingly.
Oh yeah, it's Mariah, I believe.
There we go. We see Mariah. She is the one who basically led the Gelf rebellion in episode 1 and 2. And the doctor goes in, tries to inject Ford with something, and the needle just curls back up on himself. And then everyone's, kung fu fighting. Ford is up miraculously, amazingly. And the doctors kind of peace out. I guess, if the soldiers get taken down, doctors are supposed to be non-combatant entities. I think it's like freeze tag. A doctor legally can't pick up a gun. I think that's how it works in the military. Once you've been touched, you're frozen. Josh wants to know our final back in this episode. Matthew, our final back in this episode.
He might be asking if Darwin's finally back, and yes.
Yes, we finally do get Darwin. And I'll say this. This episode is definitely a lot better, in my opinion, than the past 2 episodes without Darwin have been.
Well, that almost goes without saying.
So we find out that Ford and these 2 random people appear to be here for Mariah. Who's kind of picky, to be honest. They show up to break her out, and she's more interested in who they are than the fact that they are breaking her out of jail. Which, I mean, that could work if she actually cared about not breaking out of jail. Like, maybe she had reformed. But it doesn't seem to be the case. And Ford, man, he is not messing around in this episode. He's able to take laser shots. They flood the hallway with gas right as they send in some security people. You know, maybe they should keep their personnel a little more informed than that. But the security personnel are taken down by the sleepy time gas. Whereas Ford and this other helicopter dude seem to be unaffected, and Mariah has a face mask. So they're trying to get out, and unfortunately, Ford, his tether gets ripped off, and the guy tries to grab him, but in a twist, it turns out that Ford isn't Ford. He's just a T-1000, I think. It was just a silicone rubber mask thing. So where's Ford? What happened to him?
Who knows?
What? Has he been a robot this whole time?
Knows. That'd be quite a twist, wouldn't it?
It would, especially since he got those gills. Or he almost got the gills? Remember in season 1, didn't he get gills?
Well, they were working on it. I don't know if he ever actually got them.
So he almost got gills at the end of season.
Yes.
Okay. Bradley's saying, Matthew, I'm lucky I'm so handsome. That makes up for the memory issues you have. Thank you. I appreciate that. I literally, there was a class, what grade was I in? I think it was 10th grade, maybe 12th, where the teacher literally told me that she would have kicked me out of her class if it weren't for the good attitude I had. Like, I had such a positive, good attitude. And if it weren't for that, she would have kicked me out of her class.
And we have the helicopter just, transforming into a submersible. So that's fun.
And O'Neill, oh, poor O'Neill in this episode. He's having quite the crisis of faith. And he's talking about how everyone aboard the SeaQuest is just so amazing. They're amazing scientists. Ford is cool-headed, does everything by the book. Or even Ortiz is amazing. The guy's never bummed. Piccolo is just amazing. He's like a walking game show. Lewis, genius. So, I mean, he's clearly having a counseling session with the most qualified counselor aboard SeaQuest.
Well, O'Neill is a smart guy. He knows who to go to for the real help.
And I kind of understand O'Neill's mindset in the way that they've done him this season. Like season 1, he was the linguistics guy. He was O'Neill, Daniel O'Neill, Tim O'Neill. They clearly know
Daniel
every
Jackson,
language.
I believe.
Yeah, that's it. Daniel O'Neill is a fanfic thing, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so that analogy doesn't work, unsurprisingly. But the point is, Tim O'Neill was extremely useful throughout season 1, but season 2, just last episode, the Something in the Water, they kind of had him forget that he was this extremely intelligent linguistic person. And so he has been kind of superfluous this season. So it makes sense that he is having this everyone's doing so amazing except me kind of moment.
By the way, I think that's my line, Jeff.
What's Jeff saying? Life with Matthew, to your planet, welcome. What?
I'm sure you have no idea what that reference is, do you?
It's unsurprisingly going right over my head.
Yes. Genesis is Planet Forbidden.
Oh, okay. I honestly don't watch the movies that often. Love watching all the series. Don't keep up with the movies too much. And what's been going on here is that it's been kind of a boring thing. That's why I knew I could do a quick summary. Or it's at least been something that doesn't need to be line-to-line attention. But what's going on is that the UEO is rightly calling Ford out. They're saying, look, we know it wasn't you, but at the same time, it was you. And Ford is saying, this is how rumors get started. I need to protect my reputation. And, you know, he and everyone kind of has this fun moment together. Bridger, he makes a joke at at Ford's expense. Jim is making jokes at his expense. And Ford, he's being level-headed about it, but he's clearly annoyed by their ribbing. And poor O'Neill. Lewis is getting an article published in a prestigious scientific journal. And, you know, it's not that impressive. It's just because of my age. You know, me being so young is a novelty thing, which is just rubbing salt in O'Neill's wound. Poor guy. Because that's exactly what he was feeling bummed about. The fact that everyone else is doing amazing, especially Lewis, who is just so amazing at such a young age. But Dagwood is here for the win. He says, O'Neill, how many daggers does it take to change a light bulb? And O'Neill goes, I don't know. How many? He's like, 1. And he's polishing a light bulb right now for some reason. Dagwood is committed to his job aboard the SeaQuest. And Dagwood showing that he is a counselor just barely worse than Darwin, but still better than B'Elanna Troy.
Far better.
O'Neill says, you know, how do you feel if I left the SeaQuest? And Dagwood says, well, he would miss him. But the question is, how would you feel? And O'Neill says, I think I'd feel better. And Dagwood goes, then it would make me happy too. So even though he let O'Neill know that he would miss him if he wasn't there, he is happier about his friends being happy than about his friends being unhappy just for Dagwood to be happy. What good advice Dagwood was giving.
Exactly.
So here's Piccolo being amazing again. Or hilarious. Ford gives some coordinates and Piccolo absolutely, like, he instantly goes, oh, that's somewhere in the Indian Ocean. And Ortiz makes a joke, oh, well, you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. And Piccolo claims not to get it. He's like, hey, it's a broken clock. It can't be right at all. But I think he's just giving everyone a hard time. I don't think he actually doesn't get the joke. But personally, I like to point out that if the clock is in military time, it's only right once a day. So, and that's just for a brief moment.
True. And also in the far off future of 2019, analog clocks probably aren't around anymore anyway.
True. So with a digital clock, I guess when it breaks, you wouldn't even see anything.
Exactly.
So maybe Piccolo's confusion is quite understandable.
Indeed.
Now, Mariah wants to know who this man with the quizzical brow is. And it's not Mr. Darcy, if anyone gets that reference. Amy, if you're still here. But this guy, he's the crazy sauce villain of the week. He's saying that, you know, who am I? I am the enemy of your enemy, so hopefully that makes me your friend. Which, man, that sounds like something I'd say, like, oh wow, this is such a profound thing to say, and it's really not at all profound. It's really quite stupid. but
So it fits with Matthew very well then.
Yeah, so we might as well just call the villain of the week Matthew.
I can go with that.
Now, O'Neill, it was the last straw for him at some point, and he's turning in his resignation. And apparently he misspelled resignation. He spelled it with an S, I guess. And Bridger's like, yeah, you misspelled it. It's spelled Tion. And O'Neill, he does remember that he spoke 12 languages, or speaks 12 languages, and that was when he was a kid. And he's just feeling left behind. And Bridger goes, but that's not, you are integral. Bridger remembers how important O'Neill is. And Bridger's saying, look, you're valuable. We need you here. And O'Neill says, but that's not how I see myself. And that's what really matters here. So he's thinking maybe he's going to move to a beach town somewhere, get someplace cool, ride on the water, meet a girl, read literature, maybe draw the lovely lady. Or excuse me, paint the pretty lady.
Now Bradley Briggs is asking. He's that guy with glasses in Stargate. He looks so familiar. Well, as far as I know, the actor isn't, but he's basically the prototype of Daniel Jackson. So that's why he's familiar.
Now, in real life, his name is Sam Raimi, right?
Well, actually, it's Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi.
Yeah, Sam Raimi is his brother, who's the director.
There we are. Ted Raimi. So he has appeared in quite a few things, most notably the things that his brother has directed.
Yeah.
And, Bridger shows what a good officer he is, what a good commander. And he recognizes that O'Neill is having a crisis moment, but he's not going to let O'Neill just throw everything he's worked for away. So instead of letting him resign, he gives him a 30-day leave of absence to really think about this. And O'Neill, he's like, I've thought about all this. And he goes, well, you're going to think a little bit longer. I'm not about to let you make a decision in the heat of the moment. So take 30 days, approved leave, and figure out your mind.
No, Thomas, he's not Flash Gordon. He's Flash Rogers, but that's an easy mistake to make.
Maybe Buck Gordon?
Could be.
Professor Brain Specs is saying, oh, I name not important. You seek I. Message received. Available ship stands by. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's more Wrath of Khan?
So close.
Perhaps Search for Spock?
There you go.
It only took me 2 tries. I'm improving. Hey, Robert Green, how are you doing? So I read your screen name, when did you change that? So here's the grand plan for this guy. He's kind of embittered that people couldn't see his genius, basically. And he has found this substance that he's calling Turilium, which is fossilized bugs. And she's like, what? You're trying to tell me that you can get a lot of power from fossilized bugs? And he goes, well, why not? Natural oil fuel comes from not fossilized remains, but the broken down remains of animals and biological life, which is kind of skipping over some details, but technically true.
Yeah,
But you know, Matthew, this guy's Matthew.
exactly.
And so he loads some up in a test tube, and a random diver guy plants it in the coral reef, quickly swims away, and he's like, just watch this. And this tiny little amount of beryllium blows up quite dramatically. And he's saying that this is, you know, more powerful than the atomic bomb. This is cold fusion, which it is not. Come on, Matthew. Gosh.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
More Trek references? No. That is... No. That is Doc Ock.
There you go.
See, look, only wrong once. Only wrong once. I'm getting better at this.
Along those lines, Thompson is saying maybe it's good you don't stream every day. You make me hit my head on the wall all the time.
Oh, Thomas, I feel sorry for your coworkers and just the thudding that goes on during my streams. And you. I mean, I feel sorry for you. That's gotta leave you with a headache. Josh Street is saying that, I think he's saying that Ted Raimi was in Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 1 and 2, and yes, the nerd guy in Xena and Hercules.
And the 3 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
It makes sense since his brother was directing, but I don't remember what character he played.
Yeah, he was. He worked for J. Jonah Jameson.
Okay. Yes, I can see him. So Mariah, she's actually getting more and more on board with this guy's plan. He wants to topple the UEO because in order to mine this beryllium, he has to do it in areas where he's not allowed to, which is something they set up from the very beginning of this series in the pilot episode, that everyone has appropriate areas they're allowed to mine, and he wants to just do it wherever he wants. And she's saying, well, we can't do it. The SeaQuest is out there. It's the strongest ship. And he says, we can, I have a ship that's available for you that can go toe to toe with her. And she's like, well, I'm not in it to tie. I want to win. He goes, well, here's your secret weapon. And it's a literal squid that's been genetically modified to eat the regenerative hull of the SeaQuest. And then we get some fan service shots. They understand that their target demographic is, the 18 to 30-year-old male. And they try to monopolize, or not monopolize, they try to...
Capitalize?
Capitalize. There we are. Capitalize on that. So, poor O'Neill. He's trying to paint this girl. It's taking too long. And she's like, when's lunch? You promised me lunch. And he says, I promise you lunch if you pose for me. First the posing, then the lunch. And she's not feeling it. She's like, well, you should put some sunscreen on your legs. There's some pasty white legs. And you finally see the picture that he's painting, and it is pathetic. It's better than what I could do, but it is still pathetic. And this old timer guy comes up, and there you go. There you can see it on this stream now. This old timer guy comes up like, that's not what she looks like.
Everybody's a critic.
Bradley's saying one of the fan service shots was shown on YouTube, just straight up all butts. Yes, that's what it was.
It's not the first time Matthew's had a shot like that on one of his streams.
See, I'm an equal opportunist. I do a stream on Saturday. There's 3 hours of male backsides and 10 seconds of lady backsides. Apparently is me keeping it equal. Hopefully Thursday I will have the makeup stream for that. Now, this is an interesting part. I'd honestly forgotten that at the end of episode 2 of season 2, that the Gelfs had been allowed to integrate into society. And so when she comes up and talks to O'Neill, he doesn't really bat an eye at it. This isn't just him being like oblivious to the fact that she's a Gelf, and it's not him thinking nothing of it simply because Dagwood is his friend. It actually makes sense within the confines of what they've told us that there are Gelfs integrating into society. Now she's offering to let Sam paint her. Sam, wow, Tim,
there you go.
She's offering to let Tim paint her because all the other girls are refusing now. That he's gotten quite the reputation for getting all the paintings wrong. And she's like, well, you can paint me. So he's like, oh, okay, sure. At first he says no, and she's like, what, you don't paint Gelfs? And he goes, no, it's just you're too beautiful. And she says, that's up to me. And then she actually disrobes for him, and he is appropriately surprised and taken back by this. But he's willing to give it the old college try and paint her anyway. And she actually has some pretty funny lines here, like, what, you're afraid you don't have enough colors to paint me? And finally, it starts connecting through to him that he's like, wait, you look familiar. Have we met? And she goes, yeah, we've met. And he's like, wait, you were the lady who... And he gets zapped. $1 late, $1 short. Or day late, $1 short, excuse me. Josh is claiming it was John Hammond from Jurassic Park as the old guy. He kind of looked like him, but no. Josh is saying most of the people watching SeaQuest was 7 to 16. Was it? I don't have the Rasmussen reports for that. And Thomas is saying, I think doing Babylon 5 is a bad idea now. It's too late, Thomas. It's okay. In stone.
It'll still be a few years before he gets to it anyway.
Hey, LDG, how you doing tonight? Now, B'Elanna Troy is kvetching about the fact that Bridger let O'Neill go to the beach resort. And
she's upset that everyone's going to everybody else for counseling except her.
Which, maybe if you didn't have such a bad reputation, I mean, you'll be in the middle of a therapy session, all of a sudden you're bent over double gasping because you're having some random premonition. Which, I really wish they'd get her power set more clearly defined. In the beginning of the series, or not series, in the beginning of the season, they talked about the fact that one of the reasons she wanted to sort of board the SeaQuest was when she was out of the SeaQuest, out of water, it was too easy to pick up stray thoughts. But whenever she was underwater, it provided basically a dampening field. Like basically as if psychic abilities were like radio signals. And when you went underwater, it's a lot harder to get those radio signals through it. But now, and then it also made it like she had to really be thinking about it. Her range was somewhat limited, and now it's like she can sense anywhere in the world. Being underwater or not doesn't really matter. So here we see just she gets this vision of Matthew in the wheelchair looking at something marauder, and O'Neill keeps flashing in her vision, and she's covered with maggots, doesn't know what it's about. Just some random numbers is all she can remember now, and the face of the guy in the wheelchair. And the bugs. She remembers the bugs, which fair enough. If I was covered in maggots, I think I Now, Lewis remembers, based on what she says, that, there was about 10 years ago, there was this renegade hacker named the Marauder who was born, and I quote, differently abled, which is problematic. The CDC has released guidelines talking about how you shouldn't call differently abled people differently abled. I forget what they said you should use instead, but literally like this week, they said you shouldn't call elderly people elderly. You shouldn't call differently abled people differently abled. And there's one other, I think it was like fat people fat, something like that. And it's just,
you're not gonna be able to call anybody anything.
Yeah, pretty much. But he's another one of these incredibly intelligent guys. Got a PhD in genetic engineering when he was 12. Wrote a paper on cold fusion. And he said that the missing element would come from the petrified remains of bugs. And they laughed him out of the science, which I never understand why this plot line comes up so often, where scientists are so like off-putting of a random idea. Like, we're not even going to look at your paper because it's so ridiculous. That's not how it works. In fact, with the current climate for medical, or not medical, all research papers, it's really, really dangerous to not support someone. You basically have to support even the theories you don't believe in, because government grants are only awarded to something that has 100% support. And so if you got that one guy that you said no to because he wants to, see the effects of basket weaving on, some random group of people. I don't know. I'm not going to go with that joke too far because I'm only going to get in trouble if I keep the sentence going. But you think it's a stupid thing, so you're not going to support him. And then you come up with something like, oh, hey, I got this research paper that I want to get government funding for that will teach me, or that will get us unlimited free energy. Well, then you got that one guy who's like, well, I'm not going to support your thing because you didn't support my thing.
And while Matthew's been ranting, Dagwood's been just chowing down on a pineapple through the skin.
Yeah, Ortiz said, just don't eat the parts that hurt your mouth. And Dagwood's like, okay, and just goes right into it. And now you can see in the background, I missed this the first time. Now he's examining a banana, trying to figure out how to eat the banana. Because Jim had been like, Brody had been like, oh, Dagwood spent the past 20 minutes trying to figure out how to eat this pineapple. And so now he can't figure out how to eat the banana. And you see him in the background. He's eating straight through the peel. Oh, that's so much better than the main conversation.
It takes a bite right out of the middle of the banana.
But the main conversation is revolving around how Piccolo is actually really upset that O'Neill left. He's being affected by O'Neill's departure. He's missing his buddy. Now, they have this weird audio gap moment right there. And I can't figure out if they deleted a line. Maybe something was too spicy for TV. Or if he just took a weird breath. But he talks about how O'Neill is on some beach town with pretty babes. Meanwhile, I'm stuck under the ocean watching my life go away. And it's literally done like that, complete with the little moment.
I think it's Matthew's fault.
I think it must be. So O'Neill was taken from the beach town, carried by this lady through the town to a secret submarine. At which point she took the time to change into her Trinity outfit from the Matrix and tie him up to a lightning chair. And she is now doing something to him to get him to release the codes for the SeaQuest, which works. He gets into this random daze and gives her his access codes. Yes, Josh, everything is Matthew's fault.
Yeah, indeed.
Now, meanwhile, Ford is trying to figure out, they're looking for the missing Gelf, the Mariah, who now has O'Neill kidnapped. And the only thing they have to go on is the fact that the helicopter seems to have crash landed in the middle of the Indian Ocean. So Ford is searching the area for fuel particles, for debris, for anything that might link this ship where it crash landed, so they can find the bodies and, hopefully prove him innocent. Even though, I mean, it's pretty obvious he's innocent when you have the robot frame in custody. So the Gelf lady, she's able to use the security codes to basically find a hole in this internet or make them invisible to the SeaQuest. And she shoots off some torpedoes. And as far as the SeaQuest is aware, these torpedoes came out of absolutely nowhere. And Bridger's such a good guy. Mm-hmm. Lucas walks up wondering what's going on, and Bridger throws him in his chair, and the impact of the torpedoes throws Bridger across the bridge, giving him a heroic concussion.
He's a good dad.
He is. I mean, this is one of those episodes where Bridger is just on point with everything he does. He's understanding to O'Neill's situation, but at the same time isn't just going to let one of his valued crewmen give away everything they've worked for. He doesn't take any flack from B'Elanna Troi. He stands his ground and stands by his decision because he made the right decision.
Yes.
And then he heroically gives Lewis the chair that he was occupying because he knew that Lewis, it was dangerous to stand there. You got torpedoes coming. Now Matthew's trying to warn Mariah to exercise caution. That an animal is always most dangerous when it's wounded. So Mariah finds a convenient spot on the seafloor, and they got some amazing active camouflage going on in this episode. Mm-hmm. They're able to disguise himself as a helicopter at the beginning, and now, much like an octopus, she's able to disguise her ship as just a random rock on the seafloor. And we have a long moment looking at Bridger. Power is down to 40%. Ford's trying to take stock of where they are. And he orders everyone to go forward, or orders them to take SeaQuest ahead 1/3. And Brody's doing a lot of questioning coming up here. He looks at Ford like he's insane. And Ford says, look, if we're going to be a sitting target, then we at least need to be a moving target. And of course, all it does is it gets them a couple extra torpedo shots. And unlike the Klingons, she's able to keep her camouflage up while she shoots.
Of course, the fact that SeaQuest is able to take this many torpedo hits and keep going shows how powerful and huge the ship is.
Exactly. I mean, there's definitely a reason why in the first episode they were able to stand, or they were able to get like 6 subs to stand down. They knew even with all those all that weaponry, they were still no match for the SeaQuest. Now, Brody's way out of line here.
Yeah.
Now, Ford is having them kind of fire blindly, trying to flush out the enemy. And so he's like, fire 1, miss. Fire 2, miss. Fire 3. And Brody goes, Ortiz, no! Which, I mean, it blows my mind that Brody would ever do something like that. Just a clear break in the chain of command. And it actually pays off. By firing blindly, they have been able to peg where Mariah's ship was. And Ford admits it was a guess, but at the same time, it was an intelligent guess. He knew that Mariah had to be somewhere close, or he doesn't know it's Mariah. He knew that the ship had to be somewhere close based on how quickly the torpedoes they were just came out of nowhere. He's like, based on their location, she has to be somewhere close to us. And then he was able to make best guesses based on the direction of the torpedoes, the proximity, how everything was working. And now that he's actually found the ship, he is not letting go of the advantage. He's able to maneuver the SeaQuest such that they're dodging her torpedoes. They get a couple good shots in, and now they are hitting her with the laser beams, the SeaQuest, which honestly I forgot they had them. But yeah, the SeaQuest has phasers. And Matthew's saying, "What are you doing? You're being a fool. Don't ram them. Save your ship."
She's like, today it's a good day to die.
She just about does. So she releases her last Hail Mary, which is the squid that attaches itself aboard the SeaQuest to eat its regenerative whole stuff. Which I forget the actual name they gave it, but they talked about it starting in episode 1.
Jeff's asking why I'm melting. I must be having a problem with my green screen again.
And Ford again shows that he can think calmly under pressure. He maneuvers the ship such that it clips the squid off of it. Like he dips under a rock embankment, arch, cliff. So he's saying, signal to the other ship. If they don't respond in 5 seconds, blow them out of the water. At least Ford instantly recognizes her. He says, "Are you surrendering?" He goes, "Well, then under the rules and regulations sanctioned by the UEO, I'm going to blow your ship up." But oh no, you'll also be blowing up one of your own. And Ford's like, well, how do I even know that's O'Neill? Which is fair question. There was a robot with his face. But Dagwood knows how to figure it out.
Now, Ford is just on point in this episode.
Dagwood asks Tim, how many daggers does it take to screw in a light bulb? And, O'Neill says 1. So Dagwood goes, it's him. Dagwood knows. But O'Neill says, just take the shot anyway. Do what you've got to do. So they're kind of in a stalemate situation now. She can't beat them. She's dead in the water. But Ford doesn't want to just, kill O'Neill. So he heads down to talk to Bridger, who gives him a deadpan stare and says, "We don't negotiate with terrorists." Which, I mean, honestly, you would think that phrase only became popular or only became well known after Bush was in office. because he was somewhat infamous for saying that line. But it was actually the stance of the United States for a really, really long time.
Mm-hmm.
To which Ford takes this advice to heart and immediately goes to negotiate with the terrorist. he says, well, I'm going to let her go, but you're going to let our person go in exchange. So we're going to basically do a prisoner exchange. But he says, I'm going to let her go today, but I'm going to find you. And Matthew responds with, again, inaccurately, there are many oceans. And there aren't. There's like four oceans: Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic.
Yeah.
Now, you might say there are many seas. They used to talk about sailing the 7 seas, but that number is grossly low when you look at it at a global scale now. But you can't expect a Matthew to get something right.
That's true. I mean, this is the guy that wants to rule the world with like fossilized bugs, I think.
Exactly. I think I'm gonna get cold fusion from fossilized bugs. Yeah, so there are historically 4 oceans: the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, and Arctic. However, most countries, including the United States, now recognize the southern Antarctic as a 5th ocean. And O'Neill and Bridger gonna have a little quiet moment at the end of the episode, where O'Neill's glad to be back, and he says, the place you return looks a little bit different when you get back. And Bridger says, oh yeah, T.S. Eliot wrote something like that. And O'Neill goes, really? Huh, I thought it was a Wizard of Oz. And Bridger just gives him a what, son? And Thomas is saying there are 5 oceans. Oh no, there are 5 oceans.
5 oceans.
Excuse me, I almost missed the reference. And Lewis is warning us that the plastics are a danger to marine wildlife, which I think that honestly, not just being tongue-in-cheek, but I think that plastic has been overtaken by used surgical masks within the past year. There is a huge pollution problem out in California in the Pacific Ocean, with discarded masks just everywhere. Well, John, how did you enjoy this week's episode?
Oh, I thought this was a fun episode. Not only was Darwin back, as we missed him the last few times, but I thought there was some good character moments in this episode with O'Neill, Ford, Bridger, and so on.
There were. This episode reminded me a lot of season 1 episodes, where you had real character interactions with some sci-fi stuff going on in the background. The past couple of episodes, it seems like we've had really, really heavy sci-fi elements with some character stuff in the background. But this one we got great interactions from Bridger, great stuff from O'Neill, funny stuff from Dagwood and Piccolo, and I mean the only one who I'd say was kind of out of character was Brody, but that was just for like a half second. Was there anything in the episode that you found kind of meh or detracted from the quality of this episode?
Well, basically the general presence of Balana Troy. I thought if you took her out, the rest of it was pretty solid.
That's an interesting point, John, because they could have done the episode without her. I mean,
Yeah.
she did reveal the Marauder name, and that's how they connected it up to the Matthew character, and from that they were able to. Well, no, you know what? They didn't. That was 100% wasted time. I was say that's how they found Mariah, but they didn't find Mariah. Mariah found them. Finding the Marauder character had Bridger say, "Hey, we need to check in with O'Neill. Let's use our geolocation tracker." And they're like, "Oh yeah, he's exactly where we left him. Everything's fine." Because you saw when he got tasered, the beeper fell on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as they knew, he was fine. So literally that entire sequence from the moment she got the chills in her room all the way through the scene with Lewis talking about this renegade hacker who got, laughed out of the science symposium was 100% wasted air. They definitely could have found other ways to either have them make the connection or just have them not see it coming. Basically, exactly the way it happened.
Well, yeah, Lewis already knew about this guy, so I'll just have some other way where Lewis makes this connection, and there you go.
Yeah. So I missed that. I definitely missed that little detail. Beyond that, did anything detract from this episode for me? I always have my little nitpicks that I talk about as the episode's going on, but nothing actually made me go, "Oh wow, that's a negative." In fact, there are just a lot more positives. We talked about the character interaction already. Then there was stuff like remembering Mariah at all, having her come back to the SeaQuest was good. Remembering that O'Neill had all these abilities, great. I'm glad they remembered that. I mean, by far and large, the episode was just on point through and through. It may very well be my favorite episode for the season so far.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
And unsurprisingly, I think I'd also describe this as the most season 1-like episode of the season so far.
Yeah, I can see that.
But of course, we all know my memory and the lack thereof, so I might just be forgetting another episode. Arvik Saunders saying that he liked the dolphin-inspired shuttlecraft. That was an interesting take. Will you have any final? We're going, John.
I was gonna say anything that's dolphin inspired is automatically going to be better.
Do you have any final thoughts for this week's episode, John?
Oh, not about this episode in particular. Just want to give another reminder, though, that we're almost at the end of the season. And when we get to the end, we want to flip those last 2 episodes.
Thank you for reminding me. That's right. So next week we have the Siamese Dream, and then we're going to do the last episode of Blindsided, followed by the second to last, which we'll treat as last episode of Splashdown. So just 3 more episodes. Wow.
Yep, and then the season will be done.
So the Siamese Dream. Ooh. Guesses for the episode based on that title name. The Siamese Dream will have them going to what do they call that? They're going to bring that general guy back. I forget which the name of the territory they gave him now, but he's the North Korean stand-in general of the Asian countries. You remember he's the one who, I think it may have been season 1, where you had the astronaut character.
Right.
He landed, the general, kidnapped them, and the president was actively trying to get away from the Cambodia was probably a more relevant parallel at the time. The Cambodian what they're known for, and he wants them to join the world stage. So I think maybe we'll go back to that area. Maybe we'll get to see that president again. The Siamese dream. Siamese, the only thing Siamese I know would be twins. It'd be a stretch maybe to say something in Saigon. Okay, so I think this is going to be something to do with twins. Maybe some cloning going on, except we already did a cloning. So the Siamese dream, Piccolo's going to find twins and try to date both of them. That's the Siamese dream. That's all I got for next week's episode, guys.
Maybe it'll be some cats.
Yeah, maybe cats, maybe Dagwood. Dreams of having a Siamese cat. Maybe he wants a pet throughout the entire episode. So we'll see. We will see how incredibly wrong I am next week. So tomorrow I do have the video that I will... I'll do a premiere for, have it drop around 11, let's say 11 a.m. And then the day after that, on Thursday, I should have my redo bike stream, which I'll do all 8 hours that I biked. I'm going to try and cut out the bits where the camera is just looking at the ground because I had to take a break. So it'll be a little less than 8 hours. Because I promised I'd do that. So unfortunately, my stream crashed immediately. So I need to do a makeup stream. So we'll have that. And then, John, you dropped a video today.
Yes, I did. It was highly nerdy, if you can believe that. I was analyzing the registry numbers of all the Constitution-class ships we see in the original series and see if we can resolve any discrepancies.
Which, unsurprisingly, I wasn't aware there were any discrepancies with the Constellation class.
Well, maybe there are, maybe there aren't. So I guess it's just, if you're curious, you'd have to watch and find out.
So everyone jump over to John's channel. Make sure to sub to him if you aren't already. It's where you get, he does a lot of these videos breaking down Trek stuff. Does them extremely well with his impeccable memory. He is the anti-Matthew when it comes to memory.
Thank you.
Josh is saying that I lied. I wasn't in the episode. Oh, well, no. Just my spirit was. The guy in the wheelchair definitely had my ability for getting everything wrong. Everything he said was just wrong. I doubt he even had the PhD. It sounds like something I was lying about. And hey, Daniel's Hot Topic, I am doing fine. You are here just in time to hear us say goodbye. So, goodbye. Thanks everyone for hanging out. We will be back next week, barring no unforeseen circumstances, in which we will be watching Season 2, Episode 20, The Siamese Dream.
Good night.
Night, everyone. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.